Hi, everybody. Hi, Hannah. Thank you for joining. Hi, Katie. Thank you for joining. And Joycey. Lovely to have you here. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Zoom was doing that annoying thing, and you set it off and it says, I need to update now. And it always drives me crazy. Why didn't it tell me earlier, but needed to update? So I was a little bit late joining, so I apologize for that. So thank you so much for coming. Apologies, but there should be a couple of more people who are joining us. We're waiting for them. Go into the chat and put in what you'd like to gain from today's session. Today, we're talking all about how authors can leverage their books to get engagements. So that's what we're talking about. It's all about authors being on stage. And you're giving me 45 minutes of your valuable time. So what I'd love for you to do is just go into the chat and put in what you gain from today's session. If you've got any particular questions or anything you want to do to the chat, and into the chat, it just means that I can make sure I cover it. Read. I try and cover as much as possible, but you may have a specific thing that I haven't covered. So I will then make sure I cover it so you get the best out of today's session. So just go into the chat and do that while we're waiting to see if anyone else is coming into the room. This is, of course, being recorded as well. So anyone who isn't able to join us, they are able to get the recording and not miss out. Okay, so while you're doing that, let me just go to my slide. So give me 2 seconds. Okay. So I hope you can see these slides. Right, so let's get started. Okay, so first of all, welcome to the Thought Leader Author Forum. There's a couple of new people in here. So let's introduce the forum for those here for the first time. Okay, so it's in 2 parts. First part is we talk about the topic of today. So today we're talking about how authors use their books to land keynote speaking engagements. So the 6 secrets, as I call them, or 6 steps, if you want, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to go through them today. And then part 2, my favorite of the forum, which is I can question anything you like regarding this topic, so techniques, get anything else regarding it. This is your time to get as much from this as possible. There is a reason why I create. I do masterclasses and workshops for various groups of people around the world, and I really enjoy them. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy doing masterclasses and workshops and helping people write the best books and leverage their books. However, I do get sick of my own voice sometimes. It's just me talking and people just absorbing the information. The reason I created this weekly forum is I wanted it to be a forum, not a masterclass or a webinar or a web class or anything like that. I wanted to be a forum where I do a little bit of teaching, but then I open it up to the floor. And then that's when you can ask your questions and get the absolute most out of me and other people inside the forum. So please do use that time wisely. Ask questions. If you've spoken on stages before, give me feedback. Tell me what it was like, what you liked about it, what you disliked about it. Tell me about your book topic and how you feel it'll help you speaking gigs, because that's where really the most. Okay, so just to thank you for today's forum. You will get this workbook sent to you tomorrow. Joycey will send it out. She usually sends it out mid-morning to early afternoon. And it just means that you can take notes. If you really want to take notes, feel free to take notes. but you don't have to. You can sit back, have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or whatever it is. Maybe you're having your lunch, it is midday, and you can just relax knowing that everything that I discussed today, plus a lot more, because remember, we only have a finite amount of time today, a lot more will be covered in this workbook. So you don't have to take notes unless you really want to. And also just to thank you for coming to the forum. If we just put this link into the chat right now, I'm just going to do that. You can pick one of these causes and we will donate on your behalf to thank you for coming to the forum today. Okay. The hardest bit is picking one of these because, as you can see, amazing causes: protecting 200 square meters of native forest for a year, and rescuing 16 meals for the homeless, giving 200 days of life-saving clean, providing 3 days of shelter to rescued animals. Which one do you pick? That's the most difficult thing, because you're probably thinking, oh my God, I want to support all of these. But do pick one. You just click on choose this impact, and then we donate on your behalf. So it doesn't even cost you anything apart from troubling a few electrons by making a few clicks, and that's all. But that is our way of thanking you for coming to the forum live today. In fact, so let me actually do that way. Let me come out of this while I'm speaking. So let me chat now. There we go. So do click on that link right now, and you can pick one of these causes and we will make a donation on your behalf. So thank you very much for doing that. Okay, so let's come back to this. So some of you have been here before. I think Stanley's just come in. Welcome, Stanley. He's actually one of my clients. He'll be looking to start writing his book late spring next year. So welcome, Stanley. So Stanley knows every week I always do advise Stanley. Everyone knows Stanley and people who've come here before knows I always do polls. And the reason why I like doing polls is I don't like assuming that I know my audience. I like to know what my audience is thinking and just kind of get the temperature regarding different topics. So I asked my audience earlier this week, what do you think event organizers look for when booking a keynote speaker? So I was asking my audience to really step into the shoes of event organizers and think about what they're looking for when they book speakers. 2% said fame or celebrity status. 19% said connections. A huge 59% said experience. Okay, so experience seems to be the big one. And I think this is what puts off some people as well, because they kind of think, well, they're looking for experience and I don't have much experience on stages. So then they just don't even go for a lot of opportunities out there. But it's that old saying, if you don't go and do it, how do you get experience? But because people think, oh, they're needing well-experienced speakers, they don't even put themselves up for it. This is just some of the comments that I received on the poll. So I've got Jill who said, I would love to say experience, but I imagine they're simply looking for bums on seats. And so celebrity status will go a long way. It does. Celebrity status does go a long way because celebrities sell seats ultimately. You know, that someone quite famous is going to, then chance people are going to want to go and see that person. Carol says, I'd say experience is key. Event organizers want someone who can deliver, engage the audience and leave a lasting impression. All very true. I have to agree with Daryl. It's very true here. Experience is key. Celebrity is great, but if that celebrity is boring, then yeah, what may have happened is lots of people bought tickets to see that person, but they're going to leave feeling very armed and may even give a bad review to that event. So definitely experience you look for. Ramiro says authenticity, expertise, audience engagement, and alignment with the event's goals. Oh, I think I've got some noise coming through your multi. So if it's okay, I'm just going to mute you for now. You don't want me falling off my my treadmill while I'm actually speaking because I've just suddenly heard a noise. Thank you. So yes, Ramiro is funny because he's talking about alignment with the event's goals, and we'll come back to that a little bit later. But that is actually really interesting when Ramiro says that, and it makes you wonder. I don't know Ramiro very well, and I wonder if he's done a lot of that is why he knows exactly what to do. So let's go through some. I mean, actually, before I do that, let me give you a little story. So this is me. This is back in 2022, so only 2 years ago. And this is the very first time I'd ever been on stage. And I was speaking in front of nearly 200 people. Now you're probably thinking, how on earth did you manage that, Vitaly? How do you go from never speaking in front of on stage to anybody to speaking in front of 200 people on your very, very first time? How did you do that? Well, it was because I became an author. So becoming an author really is a shortcut. So if any of you here, and I'm pretty sure all of you here are looking to speak, either you haven't spoken on stage before and you're looking to start getting your first few gigs, or maybe you've already spoken on stages before, aiming for bigger and better stages that you want to be on. It really is writing a book. Something about writing that makes other people think that you must be an expert, that you do know what you're talking about. Remember what was before? Experience. Now, you're probably thinking, but you weren't experienced, Mitali, to speak in front of 200 people. No, I wasn't. But what I did do is by being an author, and what I did with my book to the event organizer, that impressed him. That made him perceive expert on subject. And that made him think that, oh, she'll be fine on stage, despite the fact he didn't really go into detail regarding any of my previous experience. I didn't have any, by the way, but he didn't even really ask me whether I had any previous experience. And that's why. Because when you lead with the fact that you're an author, you have a professionally written and published book, that changes a lot of people's perception of you. And it makes them feel like, yes, you're a safe bet. Even when in reality, you might not be a safe bet. By the way, if you're wondering how the speech went, I don't remember any of it. I was terrified. But I was told I went down as a storm. So I feel from what everyone's told me that it went really, really well. I don't remember it because I was so scared. It was my very first time on stage. But the point I'm making is that the book becomes a shortcut. Okay. So really do think about using your book as a leveraging tool, because it really lead with it. Before I actually sent a copy of my book to the event organizer. Do that. Not just you can even do that for online events or podcasts or anything. You can actually send your book, and your book will do a lot of the talking for you, because it instantly makes you look like an expert and you know what you're talking about on your given subject. So this is something I created in conjunction with a lot of my clients who've gone on to become keynote speakers, do amazing things, and speak around the world. And after speaking to them and just generally figuring out how they're doing this, I created this infographic because I wanted to create something that helps me get more speaking engagements, but also helps other people. I think sometimes when you learn and you're just learning facts and figures, human brains are not very good at remembering facts and figures. Whereas if you turn them into images, acronyms, anything like that, that helps you. That actually helps you. So hopefully this will actually stick in your brain. So I call this my Get Gigs system. And GIGS, as you can see, is an acronym, okay? So the G stands for something, the I stands for something, and the final G starts for something. So if you remember, you want to get gigs and remember this GIG sequence, I promise you, you're going to start getting a lot more speaking engagements and more higher profile speaking engagements. So let's go through them. So the first one, the first G from gigs is generate publicity. This is something that I didn't know until some of my clients who are very good speakers stopped. And I thought, wow, it's genius. It's something that, especially first time speakers, and that is, they don't even consider telling or letting the event organizer know that they can generate publicity for them. This is so important. I think what a lot of speakers do, even some seasoned speakers, what they do is they just think their job is just to come and stand on stage and speak. And I can't even blame them, because they're called speakers. So you think that's what you're meant to do, stand on stage and speak. However, that's fine if you're famous or you're a very experienced speaker who's been on the circuit for a long time and you have a reputation. That's enough. Think about Tony Robbins, for example. Do you think he needs to let the event organizer know that he can generate publicity for them? Absolutely not. He doesn't need to do things. He doesn't need to lift a finger. The organizers know by just simply sticking Tony Robbins on all of their literature, on their websites, on their leaflets, whatever paraphernalia they're using to advertise their event. They know just name will be for lots of people. But unless you have that level of clout, you don't have to be Tony Robbins, but you've got to be quite well within at least. Unless you have clout, just standing there and speaking is not enough. One of the best ways I've used, or a lot of my clients have used, to get engagements, speaking engagements, is by letting the event organizer know, hey, I'm going to help you generate publicity. So you can do whatever it is you do. You can say, if you've got a small email list like I have, I could say, well, I've got an email list of just over 1,500 people. I'm going to email them several times to let them know about the event and buy tickets for it. Or yeah, if it's a free event, make sure they turn up. If you have some kind of media acquaintances, say that you're going to send out a press release to a journalist. If you've got a reasonable social media following, say you've got quite a number of followers on Instagram, that you're going to do lots of reels and lots of stories up till the event to let your followers know that you're going to be speaking at this event and you want them to come and see you. Let the event organizers know. Trust me, I've spoken to many event organizers now. They tell me ever do they hear a speaker tell them with publicity. To remember, organization is hard. It's really, really hard. Think of all the events that you go to, any conferences that you go to, exhibitions, and you spend a few hours there. They've been planning that for weeks, if not months. It's a lot of work, a lot of sleep. It costs a lot of money. People are not doing this for credibility in a particular industry. They may even have a business sort of system going on behind that. I know lots of event organizers where they create an event that becomes a lead generating system for them, and then some of these people turn into clients. There's something going on there, and when they hear a speaker say to them, well, this is what I can do for you to bring more eyeballs to your event, that's like music, because they don't hear it very often. Think about it this way: if you're an event organizer and you have two slightly wet behind the ears speakers who want your stage, and one of them says, hey, I'm a speaker and I'll come and speak on your stage, and the other speaker says, I'm going to do my best to get as many eyeballs on your event, I'm going to do my best to get as many of your tickets sold, who are you going to give your stage to? Everything else being equal, who will you give your stage to? It will be the speaker that says, I want to help you generate as much publicity for your event as possible. So think about what you can do. And before you're thinking, oh, well, you might be thinking, oh, but I don't have a huge email list, or I don't have thousands upon thousands of followers on Instagram or whatever. You don't have to lie. You don't have to suddenly make yourself out to be this huge influencer, but just let them know that whatever you can do, you're willing to do. That in itself will make you stick out, because so many speakers don't do that. Instead, it's all about, this is what I can bring to the table regarding what I can say on stage. And that's where it ends. You add on top of that, this is what I'm willing to do, more eyeballs on your event way now, because they will remember you as someone who's not just thinking about them and authority, but someone who actually wants to help them what they need from the event as well. Because let's face it, as I said before, creating events, it's hard work. I wouldn't do it. It's too much work for me. I like being here and doing online events like this. This is as much as I can. I don't want to create, real life events. I know how much hard work it is. They're doing it for a reason. So help them with what they want to get out of it. This actually takes me to the next one. So this is I from gigs. Okay, so the second letter in gigs is impact the objective. Again, I've spoken to so many event organizers, and they tell me they hardly ever get speakers talking about this. Most speakers just think, well, yeah, they're just thinking for themselves. It's like, well, I need to speak. I want to be on that stage, because if I'm on that stage, I'll be seen by this many people. This gives me credibility. Maybe they want some pictures of them speaking on stage to add to a show reel. there's nothing wrong with that, I think itself, but also work really well. This is like for life, really, not just business or speaking, but thinking about other people helps you too. It's not, shouldn't just all be about thinking about yourself. Every event organizer, they have an objective. They're not just creating an event for the sake of it. There is an objective. Now, the objective can have two layers. You'll have the overall objective. Now, the overall objective is something you don't even need to speak to the speaker about. Sorry, speak to the event organizer about. You can actually just go and check out their website, check out their social media. There will be an overall impact regarding what this event is about. So, for example, in a few months' time, I'm going to a small event where there's discussions regarding methane instead of, because the big gas that people talk about regarding greenhouse effect is carbon, but actually methane has more of an effect in a smaller amount of time, in about 20 years. So slowly more and more people are realizing the damaging effects of methane emissions and not just focusing on carbon emissions. So I'm going to a small event in a few months' time. It's going to be in February in London. The overall impact of that event, or the objective for the event organizer, is to raise awareness of methane emissions, because we focus too much on carbon emissions. That I don't need to speak to the event organizer about, because that's all over their social media. It's all over their website. You want to think about the hidden objectives that the event organizer has. Now, if you're thinking, well, what could be a hidden objective? Let me give you an understanding of what could be a hidden objective. So a hidden objective is usually a business objective. Event organizers usually have these events as part of some kind of sales funnel or some kind of marketing funnel that's going on. So for example, I've spoken to this event organizer, and I know that his objective is that he does consulting for corporations, helping them to decrease their methane emissions. So now I know the hidden objective that this gentleman has is to create a lead generating event, which is this actual conference that's happening. But then what he's hoping is that a number of those businesses, they will end up becoming his clients regarding reducing their methane emissions. Every event organizer, and please remember this, every single event organizer you will come across has this kind of objective. There is some kind of business sense going on here. It's not just the overall objective of what they're trying to get out of the event. That will be evident on their social media. It will be on their website. It will be in all their literature. But there will be a business objective. Now, imagine if you found that out and you let the organizer know that you're going to help them with that objective. Do you think that's going to magically increase, dramatically increase the chances of you being on their stage? Absolutely. Imagine if I went to the gentleman and I said, so I understand you're a consultant and you help businesses reduce their methane emissions. What I'd love to do is, I've got a number of businesses on my email list. I would love to do a series of emails where we talk about methane emissions. And then I talk about someone that I know in my network who's fantastic at this and be able to help them through a step-by-step process to reduce their methane emissions. And then I can introduce you. Do you think he's going to say, wow, yeah, absolutely, you can speak on my stage? So again, this is just getting a little bit deeper. And if you're thinking, wow, I had no idea that I can do this sort of thing. Well, most speakers don't. Most speakers, as I said before, they think their job is just to stand on the stage and speak. And when they're pitching themselves as a speaker, all they talk about is this amazing story that they're going to say. And that is, by the way, you do remember experiences. That's what you need to have. You need to be able to, share great stories and make people feel something when you're speaking to them. So absolutely, you need that. But imagine if you add on to that the fact that you're going to help them, first of all, generate publicity and letting them know what you can do for them to get more eyeballs, however small. It all helps. And also you understand their business objective and you're willing to help them impact their business objective. Trust me, when you do these things, the chances of an organizer saying yes to you speaking shoot through the roof. Okay. Final one, the final G of gigs is gifts. Now, this is one, if you just do these two in itself will start exponentially landing you so many more gigs. I use these two all the time. The last G you don't have to do, but it's like a nice sweetener. And again, really helps an organizer to say, yes, I'll have you on my stage over somebody else. What I mean by gifts is if you've been to any, I would say larger events, maybe the small events you don't have to do this, but with larger events, you'll know that when you go to big exhibitions or conferences, what you always get as soon as you come in, what you get a bit of a goodie bag, don't you? Now, depending on what kind of event you go to, you either get great goodie bags or you get terrible goodie bags. I've been to somewhere I get great goodie bags with lots of amazing stuff. I'm like, wow, this is a great goodie bag. I've also been to some events where the goodie bag is just loads of leaflets. And I'm thinking, that's not really a goodie bag. It's a bag full of adverts that you've given me. And, I don't like those. And most people don't like those, which is why you then end up seeing a sea of leaflets on the floor where people have just discarded them. So, but you'll see goodie bags is quite a normal thing, okay? Lots of events have goodie bags. And event organizers, again, are usually scratching their head trying to figure out, well, what can I put into these goodie bags? And it's a headache for them. Now, if you're already an author, guess what you can do? Depending on the size of the event and depending on how strictly they will attract people or they are your audience, you can actually give your book away. I've done that with smaller events where I knew it was going to be full of people who are my target audience. I've given away, say, around about 100 books. I know that, yes, that's going to cost me £500-600, but all it takes is just one of those people to say, yeah, I want to work with you, Mitali, and I've made my money back and made a profit. I've actually had several people get in touch with me and say, yeah, they want to work with me. So that was a really, really good marketing tactic for me to use. Bigger events, I didn't do that. For example, I spoke at VegFest recently. Huge event, attracted over 1,000 people. I'm not going to give away 1,000 books, especially to an audience that's not targeted. It was a general population. There'll be some people in there who are my target audience, but not everybody would be my target audience. So you don't want to just give your book away for no reason, because that's going to cost you money. What did I do at that event? Well, I decided to speak to the event organizer and said, well, what I'll do just for this event, I'll give a discount on my book. So instead, what we put into the bags, into all the goodie bags, is a discount code where they can go online and they can buy my book for a discount. So that's something you can do as well. If you don't have a book yet, then think outside the box what you can give. So let me show you something that I did before I actually had a book that I can give away, and something I still do nowadays. And hopefully, if I can come off my treadmill, I'll see if I still find them. Oh, they're not here anymore. I used to have, I wish I wanted to show you, but I don't know where I've put them. But I created some pencils with my website on them. And they were seeded pencils. So basically, they were pencils that you can use. And once they're too small for your hands, instead of throwing it away, you can actually plant them. You tip them around, you plant them into some soil, and it turns into daisies or tulips, or there's 5 or 6 different variants. So you could think outside the box, think of what you can do. For me, that worked really well. First of all, I'm a publisher, so something that people can write with made sense. Also, I'm the founder of the Vegan Publisher. I work with ethical businesses and sustainable businesses. So having something that was plastic and throwaway goes against my values and goes against everything that the Vegan Publisher stands for. So I created something that was completely sustainable, that was zero waste, and that fitted my brand. Think of what you can give, and then let the organizers know and say, hey, I've got something that, do you do goodie bags? Hey, I've got something of value that I can put into your goodie bag. Again, they're going to go, oh, yes. Because do you know how many times, and again, I've spoken to so many event organizers, do you know how many times event organizers get approached by businesses who just want to put, pardon my language, crap into their goodie bag? It's usually just marketing leaflets or some plasticky, gimmicky thing. And if you come and say you're going to give them something of value, whether that's your book or a discount to your book, or whether that's something small like a pencil, something that you can give them, again, that's going to make them go, oh, wow, yeah, actually, that would be fantastic if you can do that. Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit of money, but it may be worth it, especially if you're going to get onto a prestigious stage. It's going to help you regarding your credibility and authority in your industry. And also, it will actually keep you top of mind. If you create something that people don't throw away, I've even had some people, I was giving those pencils away. Gosh, when was it? When was the last time? I think about 3 years ago. I still have people to this day who contact me and say, hey, I got your pencil. I think it's time for me to write my book. Should we get on a call? And they got my pencil 3 years ago, but they never threw it away. Because first of all, everyone needs a pencil now and then to jot something down, but it just means I've stayed top of mind. So think outside the box. What works for you? What can you give away? And then make sure you let the event organizer know that you're willing to do that. And again, your chances of them saying yes to you speaking on stage goes through the roof. Okay. So as I've said, everything that I've discussed and a lot more will be sent to you tomorrow. My awesome assistant, Joycey, she's in the crowd somewhere. She's going to send this to you mid-morning or early afternoon. It's usually when she gets this over to you. Now, I did say 6 steps. So if you're thinking, well, Natalia, you've given me 3. What are the other 3 that I need to give you? I only have a short amount of time today, so I can't really go through all 6. They will be inside the workbook that you get tomorrow. But this is another system that I created that really helped me become a speaker very, very fast. And I really, well, I've been told anyway, I don't want to say it for myself, but I've been told by a few people I'm quite a good speaker. But I did it in a very short space of time. I went from literally never being on stage to anybody to within less than 4 months speaking in front of 200 people. And this is using what I call my 3S stage success system. That was detailed. It'll be detailed in the workbook that you get. So if you're thinking, some of you, by the way, I know are speakers already, so you might not need this. But I know there's going to be a couple of you here today who, and maybe people who watch this on the replay, who sort of look at me and go, okay, well, this is great, Natalia. You've given me this. Now I know how to get speaking engagements. I know how to impress event organizers, but I've never spoken in front of anybody before. What's the point in me getting all of these gigs if I'm going to be terrified and I'm a terrible speaker and they will not want to hire me ever again? That's what this will do. Go through the 3S stage success system. It's inside the workbook you're going to get tomorrow, and it'll show you the step-by-step what I did to make yourself into a pretty good speaker in the space of months. And it was literally under 4 months, and I was speaking in front of 200 people. Okay, so do go through that if you're a novice speaker, if you've never spoken on stage before, or maybe you've just done a couple. Do follow that, and trust me, if you do this, you'll become a great speaker. Okay, it's what I used. This is 200 people, and like I said, I don't remember much of it because I was terrified. I kind of blacked out as soon as I got onto the stage and just spoke from what I memorized. But it was over 200 people there, and I did that even though I'd never spoken in front of stage before for anyone. And that is because I used this 3S stage success. Okay, so let me come out of this because I can see there's been a lot of chatter inside the chat. Let me have a look. Hello, Stanley. I hope you're doing well, my fellow treadmill walker. You walk about twice as fast as me, though. So. Okay, so Kate says, hi, Natalia. This is the first one I've attended, so here to see what others have to share about how they've used their books to launch them into other opportunities and how it's advanced their careers and lives. Okay, Katie, I'm just trying to think. Stanley is not written his book yet. He's going to start writing his book late spring next year. Malte has written a book, but I don't know if he's used it to speak on stages. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Malte. Alan, I don't think has. Alan, I'm actually not sure whether he's spoken on stages, but his camera is off, so I'm not sure if Alan is there.
I've been a keynote speaker and I've spoken many times.
Oh, excellent. So have you used your book, or have you leveraged your book to help you get on stages?
No, I was talking at Toastmasters competition.
Oh, yes.
Somebody invited me to be the keynote speaker at their event.
Ah, okay. So it was more like a chance thing that happened. Okay. Is this something that, are you planning on speaking more on stages, or was that just like a one-off thing that you did?
If I can recover, I'd like to carry on speaking, but I've been back in hospital again. That's why I haven't been on, and I've just come back from the medical center again. But I'm doing the books and public speaking wherever I have the opportunity.
That's fantastic, Alan. I'm glad you're doing a little bit better now. You sound a little bit better than a few weeks ago when you came.
I'm still alive. That's all I can really say.
Sending my love, Alan. I hope you get well very soon. Malte, did you have something to say there, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear me okay. I'm on a train, so like my connection might not be the best.
That's okay. I can hear you.
Yeah, I haven't really perfect. Yeah, I haven't really spoken because of the book yet, except kind of like an author interview. One thing you said earlier, like people really treat you differently if you say you're an author, like it lights something up in their eyes. It's phenomenal to see. Like I've just gaining this experience, and although the book doesn't really have much to do with my professional career, I guess we talked about that the other day. It's still kind of like create some credibility.
Yes.
So kind of like trying to see if there's something I can, finagle with that, or as you said, kind of like, just have a gift. Just have a gift when you have like talks or something like that kind of like fits in there. Right now, I have a couple of what do you call them, bookmarks. So like I'm
Yes.
planning to give them out today because, funnily, like I'm taking the train to go and talk about like social entrepreneurship, and you kind of like really instilled the idea in me now to kind of not only like focus the book on becoming the sustainable toy guy, but also on the social entrepreneurship scene, right? So that thing kind of like would
Yeah.
be something that could fit in there as well. So like kind of like my question, or like the two questions I would have for you maybe today is, how do I kind of present myself there, kind of like getting speaking gigs about that in that realm without having a book there yet? And yeah, the other one, if you have any specific ideas, kind of like how to land speaking or paid speaking gigs for this, or is that even still like a thing
Yes.
nowadays, or is anyone just expecting you to talk for free?
Great questions. Great questions, Malte. Thank you for that. Okay, so to answer your first question, what to do when you don't have books. Remember, books, I said this right at the beginning of my presentation, books act like a shortcut, but they're not mandatory. There are some very well-paid keynote speakers in the world who are not authors. So that says everything. Okay, so you have to remember, I always talk about books because I'm a publisher, so forgive me. It's what I do day in, day out. I eat, drink, breathe books. So of course I'm going to talk about books all the time. But you have to remember, a lot of what I just told you just now regarding how to get speaking engagements, you can do that without books. Letting an event organizer know that you're going to help generate publicity, letting them know that you understand their business objective and you're willing to impact it. Any gifts, I've already given you examples of gifts that you can give that don't have anything to do with books. You can do the get gig system without books. It's just having a book, as you've already found out, Malte, it just gives you that extra edge. It adds like a shortcut to the know, like, and trust. As soon as you're an author and it's, people see that it's a professionally written and published book, they instantly think, wow, I can trust this person. This person really does know what they're talking about. They're an expert in this field. Whereas without that, especially if you're an unknown and you're just getting onto the speaking scene, there may be a little bit of, like, oh, really, is this person, what can they really do what they say they can do, and can I trust this person? It just adds a shortcut, but it's not necessary. Now, regarding your first question, which is like, how do I do that regarding when you don't have a book? Well, let them know that you've got a book coming out. I actually just spoken to someone recently. Actually, I think it was oh, I forgot, she's not here. She was here last week. There's someone I spoke to recently who wanted to have her book done by March, beginning of March next year, because she's going to a big event and she wants to launch a book there. However, I did explain to her that if she wanted the book professionally published by the beginning of March, she needs to get a manuscript to me in the next 2 weeks. And she hasn't started. And she runs a business, so it's not going to happen. So I said, you're giving yourself this impossible task to get this book published by the beginning of March. So instead, what we would devise is a strategy. He said, what we're going to do is you're going to go to this event and you're going to tell people that your book is going to come out in the beginning of June. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get people to actually put themselves onto an email list, give them your email address, and they will either get some kind of discount or some kind of perk for getting your book. So I hope that helps, Malta. You can do that. You know, before you even have the book, you can actually say, let the event organizers know you've got a book coming out. You already have extra credibility because you're already an author, Malta, but you're just not in the subject that you want to be an author in at the moment. But the fact that you're already an author in any subject holds a certain level of credibility. But then you can say, my second book is going to be on A, B, and C. And you put something in place for people to let you know that they're interested. And you can give to the event organizer, you can say, I want to do a perk just for people who come to your event. So they're going to get, I don't know, 50% off the book, or maybe you give them a perk, some extra thing that you're going to give them for getting the book, and whatever you want to do. But again, the event organizer would love this because it's something that it publicizes their event. It says you will get this only if you come to this event. You go elsewhere, you're not going to get this perk, or you're not going to get this discount, or whatever you've given them. They're not going to get it elsewhere. They're only going to get it at the event. So you can still use the fact that you're going to be an author to your advantage. Does that help? Let me know, Malta, if that made sense. I know you're sort of on the train, so it's a bit difficult for you to.
Yeah, no, you cut in and out there a little bit, but I think I got the idea, and I love the kind of concept of having that as exclusive deal for like the speaking gig. So what I kind of like planning right now is like going to colleges and talk about social entrepreneurship, and I love the idea of kind of like announcing, yeah, after that is gonna be like a published book coming out. Like follow-up question, I guess, would be like if I announce that the follow-up that the follow-up
You
question
know
is
what,
kind of
Malte?
work,
You've just
that
reminded
the
me to do something for you. So I'm going to put your name, I'm making a note of your name. So I do this by the end of the day. One of my amazing clients who's he's planning his book currently. He's not in the writing process yet. He's just structuring and planning it. But he actually does that. He actually goes to colleges in the US and talks about social entrepreneurship. So I'm going to put you in touch with him, because I think you guys are going to get on like a house on fire, and he'll be able to help you because he's already doing that. He's already going into colleges and speaking about social entrepreneurship. His sort of claim to fame, if you want to call it that, is he was the guy who brought the very first fair trade avocados to the US. So,
oh, really? That's awesome.
yeah. So he has an amazing social enterprise called Fairtraza. And now he goes into colleges, and his book, the book that he's writing with me at the moment, is all about motivating the next generation of social entrepreneurs. So I think you guys have a lot of synergy together. So I've just jotted your name down. Give me till the end of today, and I will actually put you guys in contact with each other.
Awesome, Italy. That would be great. Yeah, but like follow-up question, real quick, while you're taking down the note, is if I gotta go on like this series, right? Of okay, let's go on like a road show into like German colleges for the next 6 months, and after that the book come out. Do you think it would be beneficial for the organizer of that, for the event organizer, to kind of like tell them, hey, and this is the research I want to do at those colleges, or should I not announce that? Rather have like the book is coming out either way.
Oh God, I mean, that would work either way. The main thing really is what you're doing in letting the event organizer know, if you're subtly, maybe not so subtly, letting them know that you're an author, because it really, really does help. So it doesn't matter whether you have the book or whether the book is coming out, creating some kind of for the event exclusivity, that really helps. Okay.
Perfect.
So yeah, either way, it's fine, but just let them know. Don't be shy about the fact that you're an author. I always jokingly say there's a reason why I can see my book over my shoulder. This is by accident. It didn't just fall like this. I do this for a reason. It's something letting everybody that I meet know that, hey, I'm an author. I'm a professionally published author. And there's even a badge on there that says bestseller. I'm not shy about it. I'm always amazed how many people write books and they become very shy about it. I'm like, oh God, you can't be shy about it. Don't be obnoxious about it, but don't be shy about it. Let people know that you're an author. Lead with the fact that you're an author, and you'll be amazed how that shortcuts a lot of people's know, like, and trust when it comes to you. Oh yeah, to answer you had another sort of side question previously regarding paid engagements. Paid engagements come with the time, okay? Basically, if you can show that, you know, you're getting enough engagements, you're speaking and you're doing it really well, you will get the workbook tomorrow, Malte. Joyce will send it to you. I don't know how, I think you have spoken a little bit, but I don't know how experienced you are in speaking. If you're not too experienced, do make sure you check out my 3S success system. That'll be in the workbook that Joyce sends out, and start doing that. Once you are able to create and understand how to create a good experience for any crowd that you speak to, plus you are using the Get Gig system and you're always helping event organizers generate publicity, understanding their business objective and impacting it, always looking at how you can provide gifts and that sort of thing. Trust me, once you do that a few times, you become a paid speaker because your reputation precedes you. Be always aware, event organizers speak to each other. A lot of people don't realize that. Event organizers know other event organizers, especially within the industry or sector. They all know each other. They find a speaker who not only speaks really well and engages a crowd and has fantastic stories, but also helps them generate publicity, impact their business objective, and always thinking about gifts and how to make that person's life easier. At some point, very quickly, you'll be able to, what I did was I started to ask for expenses. And then after that, I was like, I need to be paid for my time as well. So you just have to speak well, Malte. Just build yourself up to that, and then people start paying you. They don't pay you immediately because they don't know you. So the first few times, yeah, you will have to do it for free. But then you're doing it for the exposure, you're doing it for credibility and authority. But you keep doing that, and trust me, people will start wanting to pay for you to be on stage. I hope that answers your question. Do we have anyone? Let me just quickly go through the chat and make sure I've missed anything. Yes, they should. Exactly. Well, why wouldn't they? That's what you got to think, Malte. If you're giving a fantastic, if you're now proving, because you've spoken on a number of stages, you've now been proven to be a great speaker that engages the crowd, and you're a memorable speaker, plus you're doing the gigs, you're generating publicity, you're impacting the objective, and you're always thinking of gifts. Why wouldn't people pay for you to be on stage? You just need to prove yourself a few times. And then after that, you can start asking for to be paid for speaking. Okay. Hannah says, please enjoy a most marvelous, well-vegan, organic raw trade. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that, Hannah. Nice to know a little bit about what you do. Malte, you're saying you've got to be an entertainer in this world, create a halo effect. Absolutely true. Haven't told stage about that yet, except for interviews about the book or author. Hopefully that's really helped you, Malte. I really hope that's helped you. Okay, so we're coming up to time. So before you go, most of you here have already had a book idea audit with me. Stanley's already signed up now. We're ready to start writing his book in the next few months. But for anybody on the replay who wants to book a book idea audit for me, let me show you can do that. So before you, let me just explain what a book idea audit is. A book idea audit is exactly as it sounds. If you've got a book idea, or maybe you've got several book ideas, but you're not really sure which one is the best one, come and speak to me about it. One of my biggest sort of heartaches doing what I do is speaking to authors who have written a book and they're not happy with that book, because only after they published, they realized that actually wasn't the best book for them. The topic was off, or the audience that they targeted was off. So what if you've got a book idea, or even several book ideas, do book a book idea audit with me, because that way I can be honest and let you know whether this is a good book idea or not. What I don't want to do, and what breaks my heart, is when people have spent money and time and effort publishing a book that hasn't really done anything for them because they didn't really sit there and think beyond publishing. That's what the book idea audit is all about. We basically envisage a time where you're already published, and we actually work out, is this where you want to be? Is this working for you? And if it's not, we need to scrap that idea, and then we can brainstorm better book ideas that will actually get you and your brand and your business or your nonprofit to where you want it to be. So let me quickly show you how you do that. So let me just go back to my slides. So here we go. So this just gives you an idea of some of the things my incredible authors have been able to do. Remember, this is all about getting your views, your mission, your values out into the world so other people are able to see why you do what you do and adopt similar values. So we've been able to get some of our clients into major newspapers, broadsheet papers and tabloids. We're getting to work with influencers. They've been even been able to get onto nationwide TV as well. Some of our clients don't have such big goals. They don't want to be on TV. They don't want to be in newspapers. Some of them really just want to work in corporations and open doors with corporates. That's fine too. But whatever your goals are, having a book is that shortcut. I've said this several times today, but it really is. It's something that I found as an author and all of my clients have found, that just having a book creates a shortcut in life for anything really that you want to do, whether it's getting into the media, whether it's working with well-known influencers or celebrities, whether it's working with certain businesses that don't know you yet, but you want to start knocking on the door and you want them to take you seriously. Whatever it is, writing a book does create shortcut. Here's an example. So this is Amanda. She published a book, Dare to Be Fair, a couple of years ago, one of my amazing clients. And as you can see, she's now a keynote speaker, a paid keynote speaker. So she used this. She used the Get Gig system, and she uses the 3S talking system that I talked about earlier. She uses that, and this is why she does what she does now, because she makes sure she lets all the event organizers know that she helps them generate publicity. If you ever check her out on her Instagram, she uses Instagram quite a lot. She's always publicizing what events she's speaking at next. She's never quiet about it. Do you think that's lost on the event organizers that she works with? Absolutely not. That's why they love her. They know that if you book Amanda, she's going to be telling everybody that she's going to be speaking on the stage, and they need to get tickets and they need to see her live, which is exactly what these event organizers want. Okay, so do join me for a book idea audit. It's in 2 parts. First part is we audit your book ideas to make sure that you have a successful book idea. And like I said, if it's not, we'll brainstorm some more book ideas and find the best one for you. And then part 2, we will create a process that will help you succeed in becoming a published author. So let me just very quickly show you how you can do that. So all you have to do is just go to here. I will send you the link via email tomorrow. Well, I should say Joycey, my awesome assistant, will send you the link. And then all I have to do is watch this video. It just goes into a little bit more detail what we will cover. So that way, if you're thinking, well, half an hour to 45 minutes, we're not going to get much covered. You'll be amazed how much ground we cover when we both come to the call prepared and we hit the ground running. If we don't do that, then yes, you tend to waffle for about 15, 20 minutes and you don't get everything covered. But do watch this video, because then you will come to the book idea audit completely prepared, and then just go here and then just book yourself some time. And you know how this works. It's really simple. You pick a date, pick a time that suits you, fill in your details, and it will go into your calendar and mine. So I hope to see some of you there. Thank you, Malte. I'm really pleased that really helped you, and stay in touch. I will put you in touch with my author very, very soon. So I'll do that. Okay, thank you so much. So any final questions before I hop off my treadmill and the Zoom? Or have I stunned you all into silence now? Gosh, it sounds like I have. Well, I hope you got something out of this. Katie, I hope that's helped you understand. Oh, thank you, Katie. I hope that's really given you just an understanding of how to go and get these speaking engagements. It does kind of make people go, wow, a lot of people do just think it's all about, I need to impress them as a speaker. Well, yes, that's great. If you're already an experienced speaker and you have this amazing show reel, and people leaving amazing testimonials saying, oh my God, that person, they went down like a storm with my audience, then you don't have to do anything. Just, your reputation precedes you. But if you're not an experienced speaker, this is how you get your foot in the door. By showing people that you can help them generate publicity, that you understand they have a business objective and that you're going to help them impact it, and thinking about what gifts that you can add to their gift bags, or if they're not even doing gift bags or goodie bags, even just do like a for the event discount or for the event gift for all of their people who are coming, the audience that are coming to the event. These are the sort of things that really makes an event organizer go, wow, I don't hear that very often. I think I need to book this person and give them a chance, even though they may not have done many speaking gigs before. Okay, so please really do use it. These things, all of my systems, they look very pretty. The infographics, they look very pretty, but that's about it. If you don't put things into practice, it doesn't work. So please do put these things into practice and stay in touch with me and let me know how things go, because I'd love to hear your success stories. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you got a lot. If you got any questions, do just email me. You should all have my email address, and I will see you at another future forum every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Thank you so much, and see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.